I am pleased to welcome Quentin Tarantino back to this table. It has been a time since we came here to talk about, first we talked about Pulp Fiction, then we talked about Jackie Brown, but the Pulp Fiction conversation on anybody's list of favorite programs that they have seen in the last 12 years on this show, he's on that list. So it's great to have you back.
It's an honor to be back, actually. I had to make a movie good enough to come back to do it.
All right. What have you been doing for the last 6 years? Give me the whole sense of leading up to this since the last movie you made.
Yeah, well, basically...
You know why I'm asking? Because I caught you on a plane one night, late at night.
Yeah, exactly.
It was an overnight plane from, I think, L.A., and I go to bed, and I look over, and you're scribbling away. I wake up, and you're scribbling away. I said, Quentin is under pressure.
Yeah, it's funny. I mean, it was, basically what I was doing in that time, along with a little bit of living life and everything like that, I was writing. All right, I was going to do this World War II movie, first. And so I started writing that, and hell, that was like at least 6 months of research right there, all right? And so I started writing that, and then along the way, it started becoming this never-ending novel. You've heard of a novelist that have this tomb, all right? They can never end.
A trunk full of notes.
Yeah, okay. This is a script, all right? And it's like this, and I can never end it, all right? And then finally, I just said, I think I'm going to switch over to something else for a little bit. And then I started writing Kill Bill. And that took about 2 years, about a year and a half altogether. So the thing is, during that time, I was working. I was just writing, all right? And I'm writing it like the way a novelist writes, I'm just kind of alone and just doing it. I don't have like cards or graphs about this has to happen by this page or that page.
Do you write it in longhand?
Yeah, totally write in longhand. And I know where I'm going, but it's like, I want to do it like a novelist does, where it's like they're telling me. They can, the characters can kind of go wherever they want. I push them in a certain direction, but then they kind of tell me the story. Like, for instance, in the case of Kill Bill, it's like, I pretty much figured by the time we got to the end of the movie, she'd kill Bill. Right. But exactly what their conversation would be, I didn't know. Exactly what they would say once they got to each other, I didn't know. And I wouldn't know until I'd gone on that year-and-a-half journey of getting the bride to there.
Yeah. Well, here's what amazes me. I want to talk, first of all, the World War movie, since you brought it up here. Why can't you end it? I mean, what was it? You could not find in your head some logical concluding episode to sew it up.
And you know what it was more than anything else? It was it was writer's-itis. I just couldn't let go of it. I mean, there was this weird thing about it where I had directed Jackie Brown, and then I had acted on this play and everything, and then it was like, okay, the writer in me, okay, now deal with me, all right? Let me take over. And like, great, it's time for you to take over. Well, I let him take over, and I just became too precious about the page. It was like, had to be the greatest thing I'd ever done. And I just couldn't stop writing. I couldn't turn my head off. It's just like you keep coming up with another idea after that and another idea after that. And by the way, this is a movie, all right? It can't just keep getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And it did, but I was so in love with the page, I couldn't stop. I mean, now after I've done Kill Bill, I know how to end it. I know how to do all of that. But at that moment when, everything was about that, I just couldn't get away from the desk.
Do you view this World War II movie as your masterpiece?
Well,
so far, having not filmed a single page of the script?
Yeah, what I would say, I'd say what I have written so far, all right, is the best stuff I've ever written.
Best stuff you've ever written?
Yeah, exactly.
What is it that makes a Tarantino script? Because the dialogue is so riveting. Just watch the way they were talking there. I mean, you compel forward by the way people talk to each other. That's one thing. How do you create that?
Well, I really know it might all go away. But I mean, basically what I do...
What informs it?
No, well, what I do basically is, and this sounds... I get them talking to each other. I mean, it's just that simple, all right?
And you've got a good ear.
Yeah, I got a very good ear, and there is a lot of aspect when it comes to writing that relates to acting, all right? The way, like, two actors would improvise or something like that. But it's not... There's not that show-offy. Uma has a great line about it. She goes, look, if an actor is improvising and they're not using curse words, that's not improvisation. That's writing. All right? That's why you never see it. All right? If they're going to improvise, they're going to cuss. Yeah. All right? And so what happens is I just get the characters talking to each other. And what you're trying to do is create an environment as you're writing that Quentin isn't doing it. they're doing it. Quentin starts it off. Quentin knows the direction it's supposed to go, but then the characters take it over, all right? And then, like, an analogy I'll make is, okay, say I'm going to write a scene, I'm going to get to the coffee cup right over here, and I'm heading him that way, and then all of a sudden, the characters make a left turn, and they start going over here. Well, that's okay, because that could end up being the best stuff in the whole scene. Eventually, they'll work their way over here, if they're supposed to go over here. Yeah. If they never get their way back there again, well, that was Quentin's idea, and it wasn't a good one, and they were keeping me honest.
And the characters are better than Quentin at that point.
Oh, hands down. Hands down. I mean, to do it really the right way, I should be like a court reporter or a court stenographer. I'm just jotting it down. They're doing it all. And then, like, the director comes in after the scene's all, you know, I shot it out, all right? Then I go and kind of clean it up.
All right, but here's the question. What is it you have that most people don't, without flattering yourself, though? I mean, there's something you have.
Yeah, well, I guess that's God-given talent.
The sense of hearing conversation and understanding the nuances of the way people react to each other.
I mean, it's really weird because, I mean, if you try to pin me down on exactly what my religion is, I would be evasive, all right? But I guess I do believe in God, and half the reason I do believe in God is because I guess I believe in God-given talent. And it's like, it's easy for me. All right, and it's just the stuff that's easy for you. It's obviously not me doing it.
But is it the thing that you do best?
Yeah, it's the thing that I could. It's the thing I do best.
Put stuff on a page.
Yeah, I mean, when it comes to dialogue, it's what I do best. I mean, I think I'm pretty good at doing a whole lot of other things, but that's the thing that I'll put up against anybody.
Do you ever want to work with other people's dialogue, with other people's script?
Oh no, I've read scripts that have fantastic dialogue.
That you would direct.
Yeah, well, you know.
No.
I write my own stuff, so I mean, it would have to really knock me out and everything, and I kind of want to rewrite everything just a little bit.
Then talk to me about the editing process, because someone once said that Fred Astaire talked about dancing. He said, you know, what I do, I create a 30-minute piece, then I cut it in half, and then I take 2 more minutes off.
Yeah.
That's the way you do it. I mean, is that what happens? So you create this dialogue, or when you put it on the page, is it pretty much there?
Well, you know, it's funny. Well, I think you should get it on the page. Get it to exactly where you want it to be. Where, like, okay, it's right there. Like if the studio said, you know, take out a line. No, I won't do the movie. It'll not work without that. All right, but that's how the page is supposed to be. All right, but then you do the scene, and once you get the actors together and everything, it's like, okay, lose that line. That's a crappy line. Okay, that's a dud. All right, lose that one. Hey, how about say this instead? I mean, just monkey with it just a little bit.
That's fine tuning.
Yeah, that's just fine tuning. But then when I get in the editing room, then when it comes to the dialogue scenes, even though some people might disagree with it after seeing all the dialogue scenes I have, how long they are, I'm pretty brutal with it. All right, it's like, okay, screw that line, that's no good. Screw that line, that's no good. And I start trying to pack it in.
But is it because it's no good, or because you simply have to make it tighter?
No. I'll never cut a dialogue scene just for like a running time.
Or just for momentum and rhythm and all that.
Yeah, no. If it's all good, then it's all good, all right, you know. But no, it's more like you got to be kind of brutal with it, just to make sure. Okay, is that line really working? I mean, there's actually a nice little rewrite that happens on my scripts, especially when it comes to dialogue, after I get through auditioning actors, because now I'm actually seeing it on the floor for the first time. I'm not even talking about rehearsal. I'm just having actors coming in reading scenes. I'm hearing real people say them.
Yeah.
All right,
and so, what does that do for you?
Well, one, it's actually kind of amazing, all right, because I've just been hearing it in my own voice forever, because I'm always like, I'll write a scene and I'll read it to somebody on the phone or something, or read it to a friend. So it's always just been in my voice. So then when I actually hear other people say it, you know, it's like, all of a sudden there's a lot of humor in my stuff. So I see a joke that doesn't work, or I see a line that people keep constantly tripping. Well, that's not coming out of the tongue easy enough. It's hard, all right. Or like an actor just does some stupid little improv. They say one thing instead of what I wrote. Hey, that's pretty good. You know, I write that down.
But I'll bet you that Tarantino aficionados can listen to dialogue and not know whether even if they hadn't heard it before. Yeah. And they can tell. If they hear 5 pieces of which 2 are yours, they'll pick the 2 out. It's just that distinctive.
Well, you know, but the thing is, you know, if Richard Pryor didn't do monologues, if he did what I did, if he was like put all his monologues into characters' mouths, all right, and create a realistic dialogue, I'd be able to tell Richard Pryor, all right? If I'd be able to tell Howard Hawks. Now, actually, when I say I'm telling Howard Hawks, I'm recognizing Howard Hawks. I'm actually recognizing Lee Brackett, Jules Firthman, all the writers who wrote for him, all right? Yeah. But there is a Howard Hawks sound to the dialogue. Yeah.
Is it better because you direct it?
Well, it's. I mean, nowadays
you can direct your stuff better than anybody.
Well, I mean, actually, one of the best movies that in my oeuvre is True Romance, which Tony Scott directed. Right. But I think I mean, now it might go in the opposite direction where maybe a director would be too faithful with my stuff. I mean, I can slash and burn it if I want, all right?
Yeah.
But before, I think it's the situation of I'm the only one that has the true confidence in my stuff. I have the confidence in my stuff that another hired director would not have.
Why is True Romance one of your favorites in your body of work?
Well, it's like a couple things. It's like it's the first script I ever wrote. All right,
yeah.
And that's one. And two, it's a pretty accurate portrayal of me and where I was at 25. I mean, I wrote it when I was working at the Video Store Video Archives, and all those guys. I mean, none of that stuff ever happened. All right, but having said that, to us who worked in Video Archives, it's like a weird big budget home movie of our lives. That was our psyche. That was where we were at that time. Not with gangsters and stuff. And I had actually never had a girlfriend at the time when I wrote that script. So that
How
was
old
like,
were you?
I was 25. I was a late bloomer. All right.
I would say. Yes.
So it's like I went on a whole lot of first dates. I went on a lot of first dates. I was the king of first dates.
It was not by choice.
No. I was trying. All right. But what happened though was, so that was sort of like my dream of what if you were actually lucky enough to have a girlfriend, what that might be like.
Yeah. I mean, do you think that some of those first dates now look at you and say, "Wow, why did I screw this up?"
Yeah, hopefully.
This script, did it begin with a conversation between you and Uma when you were making Pulp Fiction?
Yeah, it's exactly where it began. I mean, it's kind of wild to actually remember the exact moment that it happened, especially with something that's taken 10 years to be made, and that's exactly what happened. We'd been shooting Pulp Fiction, and what would happen, it's an interesting thing. Uma was in this kind of like a weird situation in her life when we did Pulp Fiction. She had like 2 not so great experiences on movies. And, she'd also had like some success, like fairly early, like almost at 16 or 17 on movies. So, just like, when you worked hard to get something, it's something else. When it just kind of happens to you, it becomes something else, all right? And she had a couple bad experiences, so she was kind of talking like maybe she's not going to do movies anymore, all right? And she goes, yeah, I think I'll do your movie, Quentin, and then maybe I'll work a couple more times, get some more money, maybe buy my apartment or something, and then, maybe I'll do something else,
Yes.
Hey, it's too silly a life to live, all right? And so what happened was I had this weird thing going on where it's just like, I couldn't believe she didn't have more fun doing what she was doing, because I'd been waiting to do this my whole life, and I was having a blast on Pulp Fiction, all right? So as I'm waiting for her to show up, it became this thing about me that, like, it was almost as important to making a good movie as I was going to make sure Uma had a good time during this process, all right? She was going to enjoy this creative process. It's a damn shame she doesn't. And so I kind of worked 24/7 to make sure that happened. And we really hit it off and had a great time. And then she was sort of like, then started changing a little bit as it went on, all right? I'm getting to what you're asking. Started changing a little bit where she was like, hey, Quentin, I think, maybe I think I'm still going to quit. But whenever you want to make a movie, I'll come back, all right? And by the end of the movie, she was like, oh, I can't wait to work again. This is really great. But one night after shooting, like you finish for the week and you go to a bar, you and the crew, and you drink and you kind of unwind. And I remember exactly what bar it was. It was in Santa Monica. It's a bar called the Daily Pint. It's sort of a faux British pub. And we were sitting there drinking pints, and I came up with I said, I'm thinking about doing another movie, Uma. You would be terrific for it if we do a revenge movie. Now, Uma Thurman did not grow up watching exploitation movies, to say the least. All right.
Her father's a professor.
Yeah, I mean, he might have watched some of that. I mean, Bob is cool, all right. But anyway, what happened was I started describing it to her about you'd be the female assassin, you'd be the deadliest woman in the world, and these people have screwed you over, and you're going to track them all down and kill them and everything. Yeah. And so we started web spinning. And as I'm describing, and like, well, the way they always start is they always start with a person lying there and they're beaten up and they've killed their family and the people are looking down at them and everything. And she goes, hey, Quentin, I have an idea. What about you see me, my face is all bloody, and then the camera pans back and you realize I'm in a bridal gown. And that's when the bride was born. Yeah. That's when she became the bride. And then she eventually came up even with the first name of what the real name of the character is, all right? And then I proceeded to like write 30 pages. And then I kind of put it away. And then for the next like 5 years, every time I would see Uma, she would like say, so when are we going to do Kill Bill? When are we going to do Kill Bill? Well, I bump into her after not seeing her for 2 years, after I've been writing on this war script forever that I think is just becoming, my, I don't know what.
Now, this was what, 99?
Yeah, this is about like God, yeah, 99. Yeah, that makes sense. 99 or 2000, one of the two. And I bump into her, and she goes, so when are we going to do Kill Bill? I go, yeah, someday. And I go home, and I take the 30 pages out, and I read it again. I go, this is damn good. And then just the idea of working with Uma again just seemed so much fun as opposed to this weird vacuum that I was in. And I go, you know what? Let me go and do Kill Bill, and that'll by taming Kill Bill, that'll teach me how to tame my war film, all right? And I'm thinking, I'm gonna write it really quick. It's gonna be this down and dirty exploitation movie, 90 minutes, all right? Cut to 4 years later, we are now on Kill Bill Volume 2.